The sand beneath my boots is soaked with blood. Not mine, not yet, but it will be if the guards catch us before we reach the extraction point. I can hear them shouting behind us, their voices cutting through the pre-dawn darkness like bronze blades. Amara's hand is gripped so tightly in mine that I can feel her pulse racing against my palm, or maybe that's my own heart trying to break through my ribs. Her brother Kenti is somewhere ahead of us, swallowed by shadows and the massive limestone blocks that dot this construction site like sleeping giants. I shouldn't have done this. I knew it the moment I first saw her eyes. Those impossible green eyes that had no business existing in this time, in this place, under this merciless sun. I knew it when I first touched her hand 3 days ago, when I first tasted her lips in the darkness of her family's cramped mud brick dwelling. I knew it when I promised her brother I would get them both out of here, away from the Pharaoh's clutches, away from this monument to one man's immortal ego that's being built on the broken backs of thousands. But knowing something and being able to stop yourself are two very different things. The chrono device on my left wrist pulses with a faint blue light. 48 hours until automatic extraction. 48 hours that suddenly feel like an eternity. The shouts are getting closer now, and I can smell the acrid smoke of torches being lit. They're organizing. They're hunting us. This isn't how this mission was supposed to go. Then again, they never are. Let me back up. Let me tell you how I ended up here, running for my life with a woman I barely know but would die for, trying to escape from one of the most powerful men who ever lived, in an era where time travel is still 4.5 millennia away from being invented. It started like so many of my missions do, with coordinates and a date. Giza, 2560 BC. The 4th dynasty of Egypt's Old Kingdom. The reign of Pharaoh Khufu, or Cheops, as the Greeks would later call him. My mission briefing was simple. Observe the construction of the Great Pyramid, document the methods and tools, verify certain historical theories, and return. Clean, simple, academic. I should have known better. My missions are never clean, never simple, and certainly never just academic. The transition through the temporal corridor always feels like drowning in light. A sensation of being pulled apart and put back together, of existing in every moment and no moment simultaneously. When I materialized in the desert night, 3 miles from the Giza Plateau, the first thing that hit me wasn't the heat. The sun had already set, but the smell. Animal dung, human sweat, wood smoke, and something else. Something ancient and primal that I've never been able to name. The smell of history itself, maybe. The smell of a world without plastic or petroleum, without electricity or engines. Just humans, animals, fire, and stone. I made my way toward the pyramid complex as the first fingers of dawn began to paint the eastern sky in shades of copper and gold. Even unfinished, the Great Pyramid was magnificent. Terrifying, really, in its ambition. 2/3 completed, it already dominated the plateau like a mountain that had decided to grow in perfect geometric precision. The limestone blocks glowed pink in the early light, and all around it, the construction site teemed with activity even at this early hour. That's where I first saw him, Kenti. He was pulling a rope with maybe 30 other men, their bodies bent at impossible angles, their feet digging into the sand as they hauled a massive limestone block up one of the external ramps. His dark skin gleamed with sweat, his muscles corded with effort. He couldn't have been more than 27, but his eyes held the weariness of someone twice that age. I watched him for 3 hours that first day, documenting the construction techniques, the tools, the organization of labor. The historical record called them workers, not slaves, and technically that was true. Most were paid laborers, farmers working off their tax obligations during the flood season. But watching Kenti and seeing the way the overseers struck him with their wooden staffs when he stumbled, seeing the iron shackles on his ankles that marked him as something other than a free man. Slave seemed like the right word, regardless of what the historians argued about millennia later. I made contact on the second day. It's easier than you'd think to blend in on a construction site this massive. Tens of thousands of people, constant movement, chaos, dust, noise. One more face covered in sand and sweat is just another grain in the desert. I approached him during the midday break when the sun was too murderous for even the cruelest overseer to demand work. He was suspicious at first. My Egyptian was perfect. Chronofiber technology included neuro-linguistic programming. But something in my bearing, my confidence, must have marked me as different. "You're not from the valley," he said. It wasn't a question. "No," I admitted. "I'm from very far away. So why do you watch me? Are you a spy for the Pharaoh? Another one of his dogs sniffing for dissent?" I shook my head. "I'm not anyone's dog. I'm just passing through. And I've seen how they treat you. The shackles, the beatings. You're not like the others here." His jaw tightened. "My family displeased the Pharaoh. My father was a mason who spoke against the pyramid, who said it was vanity, that the gods would not honor such pride. So now my father is dead, and my sister and I work off his imagined debt. We are slaves in all but name, bound to this cursed monument until we die or until Khufu decides he's extracted enough suffering as payment." There was so much pain in his voice, so much barely contained rage. I recognized it immediately. I'd heard it in 1,000 different times, in 1,000 different languages. The sound of injustice, of powerlessness, of a cage with invisible bars. "Your sister works here too?" I asked. "No. He paused, and something in his expression shifted. Protectiveness mixed with fear. "She works in the Pharaoh's house. A servant. It's supposed to be an honor, but I know what happens to beautiful women in that place. I know what kind of man Khufu is beneath all the divine regalia." That's when he told me about Amara, his sister, 26 years old. Hair like midnight, skin kissed bronze by the Egyptian sun, and eyes, he described them with a kind of wonder. Eyes the color of the Nile's rarest plants, green as life itself. "I need to get her out," he said quietly, desperately, "before he notices her, before he claims her. He takes what he wants and no one refuses a god king. I need to get her away from here, away from Giza, somewhere beyond his reach. But how? How does a shackled man save his sister from a pharaoh?" I should have said nothing, should have offered sympathetic silence and moved on. My mission wasn't to interfere, wasn't to play hero in ancient Egypt's domestic troubles. I was an observer, a chronicler, a ghost passing through history without leaving fingerprints. But I've never been good at following that particular rule. "Maybe I can help," I heard myself say. The gratitude in his eyes should have warned me, should have told me I was crossing a line that couldn't be uncrossed. But I've never been good at reading my own warning signs either. He took me to meet her that evening. The workers' quarter was a sprawling collection of mud brick buildings near the pyramid complex. Dormitories, bakeries, breweries, workshops. It smelled of bread and beer and humanity packed too closely together. Kenti led me through narrow alleys as the sun set, painting everything in shades of orange and shadow, until we reached a small dwelling barely large enough for 2 people to lie down in. She was there, sitting on a reed mat, grinding grain with a stone mortar. When she looked up and I saw her face for the first time, I forgot how to breathe. The historical records never mention how beautiful ancient Egyptians could be. They talk about their art, their architecture, their mathematics and medicine. But they don't talk about how a woman's eyes could hold the entire mystery of the Nile in their depths, how her face could be both delicate and strong, how her presence could make a mud brick hovel feel like a palace. "This is Nikola," Kenti said. "He's a friend. He might be able to help us." She studied me with an intensity that made me feel transparent, like she could see through my chronofiber coat, through my modern sensibilities, all the way down to whatever I really was beneath all the technology and temporal displacement. "Help us do what?" Her voice was low, musical, with a slight rasp that suggested she'd spent the day breathing in incense smoke in the Pharaoh's household. "Leave," I said simply. "If that's what you want, leave." She tested the word like it was foreign, impossible. "No one leaves Pharaoh's service, not while he lives. He would hunt us across the entire kingdom. He would hunt us beyond the cataracts, beyond the great desert. There is nowhere in this world we could hide." "Maybe," I said carefully. "You don't need to hide in this world." I saw confusion flicker across her face, then understanding, then disbelief. Kenty stepped forward. "He's not from here, Amara. Not from Egypt. Not from any place I've ever heard of. The way he speaks, the way he moves, the strange device on his wrist, he's something else." "A demon," she whispered, but there was curiosity in her voice, not fear. "A traveler," I corrected. "Just a man who came from very far away and will eventually return home. But while I'm here, I can help. If you want to escape, I can make it happen." She looked at her brother, then back at me. "Why? Why would you risk Pharaoh's wrath for strangers?" It was a fair question. I didn't have a good answer then. I still don't. Not really. Something about the injustice of it. Something about her eyes. Something about the way I've never been able to walk past suffering when I had the power to stop it. Even when stopping it violated every protocol in the Chrononaut handbook. "Because I can," I said. "Isn't that reason enough?" We talked for hours that night. I learned that their father had indeed been a master mason, skilled and respected until he made the mistake of speaking truth to power. The pyramid, he'd argued, was Khufu's attempt to force immortality, to demand from the gods what should be earned through righteous living. For that heresy, he'd been executed, his family stripped of property and freedom. Amara described her days in the Pharaoh's household, the suffocating luxury, the constant surveillance, the way Khufu would watch her with eyes that saw only possession, never personhood. He hadn't claimed her yet, but it was only a matter of time. She'd heard the other servants whisper about what happened to women who caught the divine eye. Some became concubines and lived lives of gilded imprisonment. Others vanished entirely when the Pharaoh tired of them. "He came to me yesterday," she said quietly. "He touched my face and said I had the eyes of Bastet. He said he would send for me soon, that I should prepare myself to receive the blessing of a god." The way she said blessing made it clear what she really meant. Kenty's hands clenched into fists. "That's why we need to go now before he—" "I'm working on it," I interrupted. "But we need to be smart. We need a plan. The Pharaoh has guards, soldiers, probably the best trackers in Egypt. We can't just run blindly into the desert." "So what do we do?" Amara asked. I looked at the chrono device on my wrist. The extraction coordinates were locked in, but I could adjust the temporal window, expand it slightly. I had 48 hours before mandatory extraction, but I could program the device for a specific location, bring others through the temporal corridor with me if they were within physical contact during the jump. "We prepare," I said. "Gather what you need. Food, water, weapons if you can get them. In 2 days, just before dawn, we make our move. I'll get you out of the Pharaoh's household, Amara. We'll meet Kenty at a pre-arranged location, and then we go somewhere even Khufu can't follow." "Where?" she asked. I smiled. "Somewhere safe, somewhere free. Trust me." That was 3 days ago. 3 days that somehow felt like 3 years. I spent the next day finalizing the plan, scouting escape routes, memorizing guard patterns around the Pharaoh's household. But I also spent time with Amara whenever I could slip into the workers' quarter unnoticed. That's when everything changed. It was the second evening. Kenty was working a night shift on the pyramid. They sometimes worked by torchlight when deadlines loomed, so Amara and I were alone in the small dwelling. The air was heavy with heat even after sunset, and through the open doorway we could hear the distant sounds of the city. Dogs barking, children laughing, the eternal whisper of the desert wind. We'd been talking about her childhood, about growing up along the Nile, about her memories of her father. She told me about the time he'd taken her to Memphis to see the temples, how she'd stood in the shadow of those massive columns and felt simultaneously insignificant and infinite. "Do you believe in the gods?" she asked suddenly. "I believe in people," I said. "And I believe that sometimes we create gods to make sense of a universe that doesn't make sense. But whether they're real or not, I don't know. I've seen enough of history to know that faith can build pyramids and burn cities. That belief is more powerful than stone or bronze. So maybe the gods are real because we make them real. Maybe that's enough." She considered this, her green eyes reflecting the oil lamp's flame. "Khufu believes he will become a god. He believes this pyramid will be his gateway to eternal life. But I look at him and I see only a man. A cruel man. A small man in grand robes who confuses power with divinity. You're right, I said, he's just a man. Then why does everyone act as if he isn't? Fear, I said simply. And because sometimes it's easier to bow to a tyrant than to stand up and risk everything. But you don't bow. I've never been good at bowing. She laughed then, a sound like water over stones. I think you're dangerous, Nikola, from very far away. Dangerous to pharaohs and to hearts. That's when I should have left. Should have said goodnight and walked out into the warm Egyptian darkness and maintained professional distance. But I didn't. I couldn't. Am I dangerous to your heart? I asked, my voice lower than I intended. She moved closer, close enough that I could smell the perfume she wore, lotus and myrrh. Close enough that I could see the exact shade of green in her eyes, like new papyrus shoots in spring. I think you already know the answer to that. When I kissed her, it felt like stepping off a cliff, terrifying and exhilarating and inevitable. Her lips tasted like honey and wine, and when she pulled me closer, her hands tangling in my hair, I forgot about protocols and missions and the fact that I was kissing a woman who had been dead for over 4,000 years before I was even born. Time is funny that way. In that moment, in that small mud brick dwelling in ancient Egypt, nothing existed except her breath and my breath, her skin and my skin, the way her heart raced against my chest as she pulled me down onto the reed mat. We made love slowly, carefully, learning each other's bodies in the lamplight and shadow. She traced the scars on my chest, souvenirs from a dozen different centuries, and I mapped the curves of her body like a cartographer discovering new lands. When she cried out my name, it sounded like a prayer and a curse and a promise all at once. Afterward, we lay tangled together, sweat cooling on our skin, listening to the distant sounds of the night. I've never felt this way, she whispered against my shoulder. Is this what they mean when they speak of love? This feeling like my soul has recognized yours across an impossible distance? I should have said no. Should have told her it was just chemistry, just biology. Just two lonely people finding comfort in each other. But I've never been good at lying, especially to myself. Yes, I said. I think that's exactly what it is. She lifted her head to look at me, her eyes searching. Then take me with you. Not just away from here, away from Khufu. Take me to your far country. Show me your world. Let me stay with you. And there it was, the one thing I couldn't give her, the one promise I couldn't make. Amara, I struggled for words. Where I come from, it's complicated. The rules, the way things work. I can get you somewhere safe, somewhere free, but I can't take you home with me. It doesn't work that way. Pain flickered across her face. Because I'm not worthy? Because I'm just a slave girl from… No. I cut her off, pulling her close. Because you're too worthy. Too alive. Too real for the place I come from. I exist between moments, Amara. I don't have a home, not really. Just coordinates and missions and a device that pulls me through time like a fish on a line. You deserve roots, a life, things I can't give you. Then give me what you can, she said fiercely. These 2 days, this escape, a chance at freedom even if it's not forever. That's more than I have now, more than I ever hoped to have. So I promised to get her out, to take her somewhere beyond Khufu's reach, somewhere she could build a new life. I didn't promise forever because I couldn't, but I promised to try, and sometimes that has to be enough. We spent that entire night talking and making love and talking some more, as if we could somehow compress a lifetime into a few stolen hours. She told me about her dreams, simple dreams of owning a small plot of land, of growing her own food, of maybe one day having children who would never know what it meant to be property. I told her about some of the places I'd been, the wonders I'd seen, carefully editing out anything that would be too shocking or incomprehensible. Promise me something, she said, as the first light of dawn began to creep through the doorway. Anything. If we get caught tomorrow, if something goes wrong, promise me you'll save yourself. Don't let them take you because of me. My life isn't worth more than yours. Yes, it is, I said without hesitation. Your life is worth everything. And I promise you, we're not getting caught. It was a promise I had no business making. The next day dragged like a wounded animal. I spent it checking and rechecking the plan, making sure every detail was in place. The extraction coordinates were set for a clearing 3 miles north of the pyramid complex, far enough from the main settlement to avoid attention. I'd programmed the chrono device for maximum passenger capacity. It would be tight, but I could bring 2 people through the temporal corridor with me if they were in physical contact during the jump. The plan was simple. I would infiltrate the Pharaoh's household at midnight using a combination of stealth and carefully placed bribes. I'd get Amara out, and we'd meet Kenty at a predetermined point near the workers' quarter. From there, we'd make our way to the extraction point, timing our arrival for just before dawn when I could initiate the jump. Simple, clean. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Everything went wrong. It started well enough. I slipped into the Pharaoh's household through a servant's entrance, my chronofiber coat allowing me to blend into shadows with near-perfect camouflage. The palace was massive, a sprawling complex of courtyards and corridors, all lit by oil lamps that cast dancing shadows on painted walls, depicting Khufu's victories and divine lineage. I found Amara's quarters using the directions she'd given me. She was waiting, dressed in a simple servant's robe, a small bundle of possessions in her arms. When she saw me, relief flooded her face. "I was afraid you wouldn't come," she whispered. "I promised, didn't I?" I took her hand. "Come on, we don't have much time." We made it halfway to the exit before the shouting started. I still don't know what went wrong. Maybe a guard saw something suspicious. Maybe someone had betrayed us. Palaces are full of spies and informants, people desperate enough to trade others' freedom for small favors. Or maybe we were just unlucky, and a random patrol happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Whatever the reason, suddenly there were guards everywhere, and torches being lit, and voices calling for the intruder to stop, for the runaway slave to be captured. We ran, down corridors and through courtyards, Amara's hand gripped tight in mine. My chrono device's navigation system guided us toward the nearest exit, but the palace was a maze, and more guards were appearing with every passing second. That's when I saw him. Pharaoh Khufu himself emerging from his private chambers in a robe of golden silk, his face twisted with rage. He looked at Amara, then at me, and something beyond anger flashed in his eyes. Possessive fury, the rage of a man denied something he considered his by divine right. "Stop them!" he roared. "That's my property. Kill the man and bring the woman back to me." Arrows hissed through the air. I pulled Amara down, shielding her with my body as bronze-tipped shafts shattered against the walls around us. My chronofiber coat could stop most weapons from this era, but Amara had no such protection. I had to get her out. Had to. We burst through a doorway into open air, into one of the palace's gardens. The exit was just ahead, I could see it. We were going to make it. Then a guard stepped into our path, spear leveled at my chest. I didn't hesitate. I released Amara's hand, stepped into the guard's attack, redirected the spear thrust, and slammed my fist into his throat. He went down gasping, and I grabbed his spear, spun it, used it to knock down 2 more guards who were charging at us. "Run!" I shouted to Amara. "The workers' quarter where we planned. Go!" She hesitated for one agonizing second, her eyes meeting mine. Then she ran, disappearing into the darkness beyond the palace walls. I bought her as much time as I could, fighting with the guard's spear and my own combat training, skills picked up across a dozen different centuries. Ancient Egyptian soldiers were tough and well-trained, but they'd never faced someone who'd studied fighting styles that wouldn't be invented for millennia. I disarmed 3 more, broke one's arm, kicked another hard enough to send him sprawling into a decorative pool. But there were too many. Eventually, they surrounded me, spears bristling like a bronze forest. I could have used my chrono device then, jumped away, left them all standing there confused and empty-handed. But Amara and Kenty were still here, still in danger. I couldn't leave. Not yet. That's when Khufu himself approached, flanked by his personal guard. Up close, he was smaller than I expected, maybe 5.5 feet tall, soft around the middle despite his youth. He was probably in his 30s with the kind of face that would have been handsome if it wasn't twisted by arrogance and cruelty. "You," he said, studying me like I was a curious insect. "You're no Egyptian. Where are you from? How did you dare to steal from a god?" "I stole nothing. I said evenly. I freed someone. There's a difference. His eyes narrowed. You freed my property. That makes you a thief, and thieves are punished severely in my kingdom. He gestured to his guards. Take him to the cells. At dawn, he'll be executed as an example, and find the girl. Search every dwelling in the workers' quarter if you must. She is mine, and I will have her. They dragged me away, but not before I saw the smile on Khufu's face. The smile of a man who'd never been denied anything in his life and didn't intend to start now. The palace dungeons were exactly as unpleasant as you'd expect from a civilization that hadn't quite figured out the concept of humanitarian imprisonment. They threw me into a cell carved from stone, no windows, just darkness and the smell of fear and suffering. My hands were bound, but they'd missed the chrono device. It was designed to look like an ornate bracelet, and in the chaos, they'd overlooked it. I sat in the darkness and considered my options. I could jump out right now, leave this entire era behind. Mission failed, but I'd survive. Standard protocol in case of capture. But Amara was out there, and Kenti, and Khufu's guards were hunting them. If I left now, they'd be caught. They'd be punished. She'd become the Pharaoh's concubine, or worse. Kenti would probably be executed for his sister's attempted escape. I couldn't leave. Not yet. The hours crawled by. I dozed fitfully, conserving energy, trying not to think about what dawn would bring. Ancient Egyptian executions weren't known for being quick or merciful. Then I heard it. Soft footsteps in the corridor outside my cell. A whispered voice. Nikola, are you in here? Kenti? I stood up, moving toward the cell door. How did you? I have friends among the guards. Not everyone loves Pharaoh as much as he thinks. A key scraped in the lock, and the door swung open. Kenti stood there, a guard's uniform hanging loose on his frame, a bronze sword in his hand. Amara made it to the meeting point. She's waiting. But we need to go now, before they realize I'm not supposed to be here. He cut my bonds, and we moved quickly through the dungeon corridors. Kenti navigated with the confidence of someone who knew this place, who'd maybe spent time in these cells himself. We passed other prisoners, their eyes gleaming in the darkness, but I couldn't free them all. I could barely save 2 people. We emerged into the pre-dawn darkness. The palace was on high alert, guards everywhere, but Kenti led me through servant passages and hidden routes, places the Pharaoh's soldiers didn't know or didn't bother guarding. Finally, we slipped through a gap in the palace walls and into the sprawling workers' quarter beyond. Amara was there, hiding in a narrow alley between 2 buildings. When she saw me, she ran forward and threw her arms around me, her face pressed against my chest. I thought they'd killed you, she whispered. I'm fine, I interrupted, though my ribs ached where a guard had kicked me. But we need to move. The extraction point now, we're out of time. We ran. Through the workers' quarter, past sleeping buildings and the massive construction site where the pyramid loomed like a judgment in the darkness. Behind us, I could hear the alarm being raised, horns blowing, guards shouting, dogs barking. They'd discovered my escape. They were coming, which brings me to now, to this moment running through the night with sand beneath my boots and blood in the air. Kenti ahead, Amara's hand in mine, and Pharaoh's guards getting closer with every passing second. The extraction point is half a mile away. I can see it in my chrono device's display, a clearing marked by 3 distinctive boulders. We're going to make it. We have to make it. But the guards are gaining. I can hear their footsteps now, can feel the ground vibrating with their pursuit. There are dozens of them, maybe more. And ahead, blocking our path, more guards. They've anticipated our route, cut us off. We're surrounded. Kenti skids to a halt, his stolen sword raised. Amara presses against my side, her breath coming in ragged gasps. My hand moves to the chrono device. I could jump now, pull Amara with me, leave Kenti behind. Or I could jump us all, but the device isn't designed for 3 people and the temporal corridor might collapse, might tear us apart atom by atom and scatter us across time. Or I could stay and fight, buy them time to run, sacrifice myself so they could live. I'm running through these options in the split second it takes for the guards to close in when Kenti does something I don't expect. He looks at his sister, then at me, and he smiles. A sad, beautiful smile full of love and resignation. "Take care of her," he says. Then he charges. He charges alone, straight at the line of guards blocking our path, his sword flashing in the growing dawn light. It's suicide. It's heroic. It's heartbreaking. "No!" Amara screams, trying to run after him, but I hold her back, wrap my arms around her and drag her away from the fight. Kenty crashes into the guards like a wave against rocks. His sword rises and falls, and men cry out. And for a moment, just a moment, he opens a gap in their line. "Go!" he shouts back at us. "Go now!" I run. I run with Amara sobbing against me, her feet barely touching the ground as I half carry, half drag her toward the extraction point. Behind us, I can hear the sounds of battle, of Kenty fighting impossible odds, buying us seconds with his life. We reach the clearing, the 3 boulders exactly where they should be. I check my chrono device, extraction window open. 45 seconds. "We have to go back," Amara is saying, trying to pull away from me. "We have to help him, we can't leave him." "I'm sorry," I tell her, and I mean it more than I've ever meant anything. "I'm so sorry." 20 seconds. The guards are coming around the boulders now, arrows knocking in bows. Kenty is nowhere to be seen. Either he's down or he's still fighting, but either way, he's not here, and we're out of time. 10 seconds. I pull Amara against me, wrap both arms around her, ensure we're in full contact. My finger hovers over the chrono device's extraction trigger. "I can't leave him," she sobs into my chest. "He's my brother, I can't." 5 seconds. "I know," I whisper. "I know. I'm sorry." The guards are 10 feet away. An arrow flies past my ear, so close I feel the wind of its passage. I trigger the extraction. The world tears apart. The temporal corridor is agony. It always is, but this time it's worse. Pulling 2 people through at once strains the device's capacity to its absolute limit. I can feel Amara screaming, but can't hear her over the roar of time itself. Feel her grip on me tightening as reality tries to rip us apart. Light and darkness and every color that ever existed and some that don't flash around us, through us, inside us. Then suddenly, violently, we're through. We materialize in sand and sunlight. But not ancient sand, not ancient sunlight. We're in the Sahara Desert, but the Sahara of 2015 AD. I'd programmed the coordinates for 70 years ago, far enough from my own time that I wouldn't cause paradoxes, close enough that civilization existed and Amara could find her place in it. She collapses into the sand, retching and gasping. Time travel affects people differently, especially their first time. I kneel beside her, holding her hair back, my own stomach churning from the violent extraction. When she finally stops being sick, she looks up at me with eyes full of tears and loss. "He's dead, isn't he? Kenty. My brother. He's dead." I want to lie. I want to tell her he might have survived, that maybe he got away. But I've seen enough battles, enough heroic last stands to know the truth. "Yes," I say gently. "He gave his life so you could be free. He loved you that much." She doesn't cry more. She just sits there in the sand, staring at nothing, processing a grief too large for tears. I sit with her, my hand on her shoulder, and wait. Finally, she speaks. "Where are we? When are we?" "Egypt," I say. Still Egypt, but a different Egypt. 4,500 years after we left. She looks around at the endless desert, the empty sky. It looks the same. The desert doesn't change much, but everything else does. Trust me. And what happens to me now? It's the question I've been dreading. I can't take her to my time. The Chrononaut protocols are absolute on that. But I've placed us in an era where she can survive, where with some help and guidance, she can build a new life. I have contacts in this time period, people who ask fewer questions than they should about refugees with no documentation or past. They can help her. I explain this as gently as I can. I tell her about the world she's in now, about airplanes and electricity, about countries called Egypt and Libya and Sudan that occupy the land she knew, about cities so large they'd swallow Memphis 100 times over, about a world without pharaohs or slaves, at least not in the way she knew them. She listens, her face unreadable. When I finish, she's quiet for a long time. "So you're leaving," she finally says. Not a question, a statement. I have to. My time, my life. It's not here. It's not anywhere, really. I exist between moments, remember? And I exist in this moment, this strange new world where my brother is dead and everything I knew is dust. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If I could, don't. She cuts me off. Don't apologize for saving me. Don't apologize for giving me the chance my father never had, that Kenty never had. I'm free, Nikola. You gave me that. It's more than I had any right to hope for. She stands up, brushes sand from her ancient robes that are now just costume artifacts in a world that's moved on without her. She looks at me, and her green eyes are dry now, determined. Will I ever see you again? I want to say yes, want to promise that I'll come back, that we'll find each other again somehow. But I've never been good at lying, especially to her. I don't know, I say honestly. Time is complicated, but I'll carry you with me. Always. Every moment, every mission, every time I close my eyes. She steps close to me, rises on her toes, kisses me one last time. It tastes like tears and sand and goodbye. Then carry this too, she whispers against my lips. The memory of a man who couldn't bow, who saved a slave girl from a god king. The memory of someone who proved that even between moments, love can exist. Remember that, Nikola. When you're lost in time, remember that you were found once by a girl with green eyes in ancient Egypt. She steps back. My chrono device beeps. Extraction window closing. Return protocol engaging. I have 30 seconds before mandatory jump to my native timeline. There's a town 15 miles west, I tell her quickly. A man named Hassan runs a hotel there. Tell him Nikola sent you. He'll help. I know, she interrupts. I'll be fine. Go. Before your machine pulls you back without saying goodbye. 20 seconds. Amara. Go, Nikola. And thank you. For everything. For seeing me as human when a god saw me as property. For loving me when love was impossible. For giving me back my life. Even though it cost my brother his. 10 seconds. I want to stay. Want to damn the protocols and the mission and everything else. But I can't. The device is already initiating. Reality already starting to thin around me. Be free, I say. Be happy. Live enough for both of you. 5 seconds. She smiles through tears. I will. I promise. Now go, before I change my mind and beg you to stay. The world dissolves. The last thing I see is her standing in the desert, her black hair whipping in the wind, her green eyes watching me disappear the way people watch stars fade at dawn, with wonder and sadness and acceptance of things that cannot be changed. Then I'm back in the temporal corridor, alone, being pulled back to my own time like a fish on an invisible line. When I materialize in the Chrononaut facility 3 days after I left, the debriefing team is waiting. They ask their questions. What did I observe? What historical data did I collect? Did I maintain temporal integrity? Were there any complications? Complications. That's what they call it when you fall in love across 4.5 millennia. When you help people escape a Pharaoh. When you watch a man sacrifice himself to save his sister. Complications. I give them the standard answers. Show them the recordings from my chronofiber coat's sensors. The documentation of pyramid construction techniques. I leave out the parts that matter. The feel of Amara's skin, the sound of Kenty's last battle cry, the taste of freedom and love and loss all mixed together. They're satisfied. The mission is classified as successful, if slightly irregular. I'm cleared for my next assignment after a standard recovery period. But in the weeks that follow, I find myself thinking about her constantly, wondering if she made it to Hassan's hotel, if she learned to navigate a world so different from her own, wondering if she thinks about me, if she remembers those stolen hours in a mud-brick dwelling, if she still sees my face when she closes her eyes. I'll never know. That's the curse of time travel. You can visit any moment in history, but you can't go back to the same moment twice. The timeline I left her in has moved on without me, day by day, year by year. By my own internal chronology, It's been 2 months since I left her in that desert. But in her timeline, depending on where she is, when she is in her own journey through linear time, it could be days or years or decades. She could be alive, thriving in the modern world, maybe with children of her own by now. Or she could be gone, her life played out in the years between when I left her and when I sit here remembering. I don't know. I'll never know. And that not knowing is a special kind of torture. But I have her memory. I have the proof that even between moments, even in the cracks of history where chrononauts exist, love is possible. Brief, impossible, beautiful love. And I have the knowledge that somewhere, someone, a woman named Amara lived free because of choices I made, mistakes I embraced, protocols I broke. That has to be enough. That has to mean something. Tonight I accepted my next assignment. Renaissance Italy, 1503. Something about Leonardo da Vinci and a missing notebook. It should be straightforward, academic, safe. But I know better. My missions are never safe. Never simple. Never just academic. Because I've learned something in my travels through time. History isn't just dates and names and dead facts in books. It's people. Living, breathing, feeling people with hopes and fears and eyes that can see right through you to whatever you really are beneath the technology and the temporal displacement. And sometimes if you're unlucky, or lucky depending on how you look at it, you fall in love with those people. You help them, save them, damn yourself for them. You carry them with you through every moment afterward. Ghosts of might have beens and could have beens and actually weres. I close my eyes and I can still see her. Green eyes in ancient Egypt, black hair in desert wind, hands that held mine as we ran from a god-king's wrath. I shouldn't have helped them escape. I know that. I broke protocols, endangered the timeline, complicated things that should have remained simple, but I'd do it again. Every time, in every timeline, without hesitation, because that's who I am. That's what I do. I'm Nikola Brown, a traveler through time and history. If you enjoyed this adventure of mine, subscribe to the channel and share it.